Hello everyone, this is Dr. Tyann, and I'm just playing around with some filters on Instagram, and I figured that I would pick back up the topic that we were talking about yesterday. Um, I recommended a book, and for those of you that were on my live yesterday, you know what that book is. If you don't know what that book is, you have to go to my YouTube channel in order to get that information. Yes, I'm trying to get more views, obviously. Um, welcome. Welcome to my live, Opulent Wellness. Thank you so much. Hi, beautiful. So, if you guys were on my live yesterday, I was talking about soulmates and what the purpose of a soulmate relationship is. So, today I'm going to be talking about ancestral curses. A lot of people misconstrue what ancestral curses are, what purpose the divine has in allowing it, etc. And I got my next topic of discussion too, which I'm going to be talking about how to let go and to complete a cycle of a breakup, like how to release a relationship. That will be my next topic of discussion. But a lot of this information is very imperative, and I want to share it with you guys. I'm on my lunch break, so I'm going to go ahead and get into it. Hello, Danny. Hello, everyone. I'm just going to wave because I didn't really have time to say everyone individually, but everyone, hello. Kid 47, hello. All right, so let me get into this because I want to be able to take my lunch too. An ancestral curse is a form of energy sent to teach a lesson, either directly or indirectly. It is the presence of a pattern created from cultural habits or focused intent. I'm going to stop right here, all right? Your intentions are very powerful. Even your mother, your grandmother, your great-grandmother, your great-great-grandmother, and so forth and so on. Intentions is everything, all right? And your intentions get passed down, all right? So we need to really focus on what we are thinking, the habitual habits that we form in our thoughts. No matter how it got started or why, we call this form an energetic construct. A family curse is an intended boundary to be realized by current or future generations. Let's say your uncle gets cursed by someone he wronged, and during the course of his life, he doesn't make any changes to himself or get the intended message. So the curse will stay with his soul or be transformed down to subsequent generations of his family who exhibit similar dynamics and traits until it can be reconciled. However, it cannot affect anyone who doesn't have some form of resonance to it. It's called a agreement. All right? So there has to be either a verbal or a non-verbal agreement in order for this generational curse to continue. And this is what most people don't know. Most people think that when a curse is put on the family, that everybody in that family will be cursed. No, not necessarily. And that's the same way that a spell works. If you subconsciously do not agree to it, no one could put that spell on you. You have to subconsciously agree to it in order for it to happen or in order for it to take place. In times of oppression, people use the energy they have in a way that is not discernible by everyone, usually the oppressors. Curses can be put upon specific families, groups, people, and concepts, and are revealed in the health, prosperity, or the beliefs of those afflicted. However, those afflicted must agree to the curse. An agreement comes in the form of grief, guilt, anger, or similar response to the nature of the energetic construct while having no conscious awareness of its presence. That's why I said it can be conscious or it can be unconscious. All right. So many years ago, I was called to a client's home to do a house clearing. She had just moved in with her fairly new boyfriend who lived way outside. He lived outside the city limits on many levels. He was a low-level drug dealer, in addition to creating his own rooster farm, cultivating birds, and professional cockfighting. My client Molly hadn't had a decent night's sleep since he moved in, and she was sure someone had put a curse on her. The energy of the home was intense for many reasons, such as the dynamic of their relationship and the events that occurred on the property. But more than any of that, the energy in a back room was so dense with darkness, it was palpable. It hit me in the gut as I entered the room. There were boxes piled from the floor to the ceiling and no room to walk around. I turned and I left, closing the door behind me, which suited me just fine. After the initial assessment of the house and property, I set up the necessary crystal grid to begin to clearing of discordant energies. I went to the kitchen where my client was washing dishes, and as we were speaking of the heaviness in the back room, the door was visible from where we stood. A swish of dark energy came burrowing out of the room at us. We both ducked, standing at the kitchen sink. Our jaws dropped. We began to laugh. It was surreal. Saw the face of a woman wearing a conical hat. Yes, it was quite literally a witch on her broom. She moved so quickly, it created a black swoosh. My client saw the face of her boyfriend's aunt, who was a known bruja in the community. We shifted the energy in the place of the force of the bruja's energy out by sending it back to her. Molly wasn't quite sure why her boyfriend's aunt didn't like her, but she was clear she had no interest to be bullied on any level anymore. I told Molly that the aunt believed she was a gold digger and was seeking to protect her nephew. My client laughed and said, "Well, I do like money, but I make my own." After the clearing, Molly was able to sleep and have no more spiritual issues with her lover's family. So, what is magic? Of course, it's a curse. It is the moment a person understands the lesson the energy is meant to teach or inspire in any incarnation. The affected person detaches from the energy. The construct that remains can be removed by a third party when the energy is no longer relevant. It's like a ghost that is fed by behavior or dynamic at play. If there is no energy to feed the curse, it can dissipate over time and become listless and weak. But ultimately, it must be transformed or given back to the one who put it in that place, in that case, the boyfriend's aunt. So, again, for many of you that do not understand spells and how it works, like, you can't just remove a spell and just think that it just vanishes and it goes away. You have to take that energy and you have to replace it. And the way that you normally do that is by sending it back to the person that put the spell on you in the first place. All right? The universe works off of universal laws. God's laws are God's laws. The laws of compensation is what comes into play when it comes to removing a spell. Okay, you have to remove the spell, and then in its place something has to go in there, so it's not free energy just floating around. So that's why you send it back to sender. So anyway, I wanted to go a little bit deeper into the ancestral curses as well. It can also be karma. You may have an incarnation where you had many incarnations and you had a lot of karma you didn't deal with, and so in your incarnation you decided not to deal with that karma, and so that karma gets passed down to your children and your children's children, and so that is another form of ancestral curse. It's karma that has not been cleared out, and as you have heard me say by reading in this book, you have to remove it by changed behavior, energy, thought patterns, as long as it has a resonance. Okay? Like attracts likes. You got like attracts like. As long as it has a resonance, it will stay. Just like a person is not born a drunk. Okay? Drinking doesn't run in the family. It's just that the people in that family happen to love alcohol. And if you have a child and they pick up, drinking, it isn't because they were born an alcoholic. It is because they were in that same resonance. All right, you guys, I'm going to keep it short and simple. That's just what I'm going to share with you today. Today, this is like the highest number of what I had on a live in quite some time. It was a total of 17. So thank you all. I appreciate you. Thank you for holding love and light and space for me today. Namaste.